Welcome back to the Billabong Pro Jeffreys Bay for 2011. Stop number 4 on the ASP World Tour. It's day 9 of the waiting period, Friday, and a beautiful morning. Around about 7:30 a.m. and we're just about ready to get the official call. Ronnie Blakey and Joe Turpel here. How are you this morning, Joe?
Shandis.
Which in Zulu means?
Doing great.
How's things been? Did you have a good night last night?
Yes, it was pretty fun to surf around the area yesterday after they called it off. Ran those 6 heats, and they wanted to kind of wait for see what the tide was going to do when it was going to fill in. They're also worried about that wind, but late into the night, as you found out, they got pretty fun out there before dark.
There was a couple of cheeky little ones. I heard you had a really strong finish on the bricks yesterday afternoon.
I basically starfished the bricks on the inside. So, as they say, it takes a lot of experience to rip this place.
It sure does. Well, we're going to throw down to Adam Rapog and Luke Egan now and get the official call for proceedings on day 9.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Ronnie. Right on. Looking out here this morning, looks really fun once again. Somewhat Groundhog's Day, about 2 to 3 foot, maybe a little smaller than yesterday, but the forecast is sounding good, Luke.
Yeah, we're glad to wake up and see some surf this morning. We're on the high tide right now, so the boys decided to wait a little bit after high and see what it does, but it looks like we'll get a start pretty early. There's been some really nice waves, and my guess is as the tide drops and hopefully that swell starts filling in early this morning than anticipated. I think it's going to turn up this afternoon though, but I reckon we're going to get a great day, get all that round 3 done, and then really looks good that we don't have to go into a Sunday if we don't need it, because at the moment the forecast is rain and like a lot of wind, so it'd be good if there's a chance we could get this thing finished tomorrow in really good waves. Saturday all along has been the best day of the forecast, so things are shaping up.
Well, you heard it there, Ronnie and Joe. Tomorrow's looking awesome. Hopefully we'll get through the 3rd round today, give ourselves a little time for the weekend. Saturday's looking awesome. Really wish I could get out there, but looks like we're going to surf the event. Ronnie, Joe, back up to you guys.
Thank you, Adam. That coffee's going to kick in very soon, and then you'll be flying off once again, I'm sure.
Yes, they're just warming up down there, and it's kind of like the theme. You get down here in the dark, everyone's kind of just trying to look to see if they could see a set or two through the dark, and like we thought, we had a little waves today. We're expecting a little drop this morning, but Ronnie, you're going to get in depth on the Surfline forecast.
I am. I'm going to get right into it. The Surfline official forecast. Let's bring up those models right now. Well, as you can see, what we're looking at here, the main feature we're watching is the strong low pressure system that is pushing towards South Africa, and that storm is setting up. That solid southwest swell for Saturday, and hopefully we're going to see a little pulse this afternoon. Right now, we're looking at that small but contestable southwest and east swell. We've still got the kind of 2 swells working together at the moment, and that's what gave us that little bonus push through yesterday, and we were able to get that 2nd round completed. Right now, we're looking at the Surfline nearshore models for Jeffreys with that building trend into Saturday, and it's going to fade away Sunday. And the wind conditions, they're looking good for today, but Saturday morning looks nice also. Possibly going to be a little bit windy there on Sunday, so looking to possibly wrap up the 3rd round today and then hopefully banging things out tomorrow.
Pretty excited, Ronnie. There's some big heats in the draw. I mean, some of my favorites so far. Taj Burrow has a matchup with Josh Kerr, and then the all-Brazilian matchup of Adriano de Souza and Alejo Muniz. Just 2 of the big heats to come today.
Looking down the draw, I spotted a run of 3 heats that I'm really keen to watch. Heat number 6, heat number 7, heat number 8. And just have a look at the draw there, Joe, and have a look at those names.
Heat number 6, Jordy Smith, Travis Logie, all South African matchup. That's going to be unbelievable. Heat 7, Mick Fanning, all Australian matchup with Kai Otten, former event winner with Mick Fanning as well. And then heat number 8, 2009 champ Joel Parkinson has his all Australian matchup with Matty Wilkinson. So
yeah.
3 in a row. I agree with you, Ronnie. Those are going to be insane.
Yeah, unbelievable matchups, those 3. But with this new 32-man format on the World Tour, you know, there is no slow heats. Every heat is worth watching, and the first heat of the day looks like being a real beauty between Jeremy Flores and Daniel Ross. We're going to talk more about the upcoming action shortly, but right now we're going to leave you a piece, and it's the world's best surfers having their say on Kelly Slater's decision not to turn up for the Billabong Pro Jeffreys Bay. So we'll watch that right now, and then we're going to go to a break, but don't go anywhere. You're watching The Morning Show.
I guess Kelly's at like a stage of his life where he just wants to chase really good waves. You know, I know he still loves competing and putting on a rush shirt, but you know, when you've got 10 world titles, if you miss an event, it's not the end of the world, you know.
If he wants to go and chase good waves and do that, then that's fine. Like, I don't see why he wouldn't want to, but don't say you're going to do the world tour and then just not show up for your heat.
It didn't really annoy me. It's just, I think we've all heard it before.
Well, he's at that stage where he's more excited about probably getting good waves. He's done everything possible competitive-wise. So he chose, to surf pumping waves in Fiji.
If I knew that Taj Burrow was 10 foot or bigger and just pumping, it'd be pretty hard to drag me away from there too. But I think it's a little bit rude that he didn't show up.
No, I really don't care. He knows what he's doing, If he come over, cool. If he don't come over, I don't care. And nobody cares. On the Billabong.
It's more of a disrespectful thing to do to the guys that are chasing the world title this year. Mick and Jordy and Joel and those guys that are really focused on it. I think they want to win at every event and they want the best guys to be there and they want to beat the best guys, and come the end of the year and the guy wins and they'll be like, oh, Kelly didn't show up here and this and that. And
Yeah, I wanted him to be here actually quite bad. I always love watching him surf out here, so. And it's always good to have everybody here, everyone that competes on the tour. You don't want to win an event without the best guy there, so that sucks.
But I know deep down he'd be a bit spooked missing it. I know it for sure. He'd be kicking himself. Even though he got sick waves, I know that he'd feel like he's missing out. Because we all do. Like it's all we've done our whole lives. I'd be the same. But yeah, I know that he's had so much fun over there, but I reckon he'd like to be here too.
It's his decision, and he didn't upset me. I was upset that I didn't get the waves that he got, but I planned on coming here to do the event, and that's what I'm here for. So he planned on going to get barreled in Fiji, and that's what he did.
You're watching the Billabong Pro J-Bay for 2011. This is day 9 of the waiting period. We're going to get round number 3 underway shortly, but before we do, the morning show, we're running through it, and we've seen some great stuff already. The world's best surfers talking about Kelly Slater's decision not to turn up here at Jeffreys Bay. Some really interesting perspectives there.
It was interesting to hear from the guys themselves because they're affected the most with him missing from the draw, because when we first showed up, his name was there, and he was kind of talking like monitoring the swell from Fiji. If he had a chance, he'd try to make it. But obviously, he did not make it because we had a couple of pulses halfway through the week. He did later mention, Kelly did on his Twitter, saying, hey, I would have made it if I could towards the end, but now I'm going to be looking forward to Tahiti.
Well, one of the surfers that was pretty vocal on Twitter, and also when you spoke to him, was Jordy Smith. Jordy, just getting off that subject, Jordy's looking really sharp at the moment. I've noticed that he's actually dropped a few kilos. He's riding new boards. How was it talking to Jordy?
He looked really, really comfortable. I think he's experiencing what it's like to be a defending champ at a spot where he's got the local crowd behind him. So it was kind of cool to hear that from Jordy and kind of feel that. He's got his boards worked out. I think he was talking about how he continues to change his equipment a lot, and he's starting to find what's going to be working for him this year. The thing is, the guy who replaced Kelly Slater, Travis Logie, getting the spot, it's going to be an all-South African matchup, so he's not sure where the crowd's going to be more. Let's take a moment to kind of hear from Jordy himself.
you're happy about beating every one of the guys, especially when you win a heat. But the most important thing is, I think, it's those climaxes. Last year I had a heat show with Bede. He had beaten me the whole year, and so halfway through the heat I was comboed until like 3 minutes to go.
The last score comes through, it's a 7.93.
To beat him here at my home spot was really important, and those big climaxes is what you want in a heat. It gets the crowd going. The crowd support since last year has been amazing. My next heat I've got Travis, and we both fellow countrymen, and so yeah, you don't know who the crowd's going to be going for there, but I guess they're both going to be rooting us on, and probably just going for whoever surfs better. My boards are working really well. I've got a nice DHD here at the moment that I'm going really well. I've got a few Almerics that are going great. I've changed boards since last year. My board at the moment, I'm riding a 6.2.5 just because the waves have been a lot smaller. So if the waves start to pick up a little bit, I'll definitely jump onto a 6.3 or 6.3.5. I won't change the dimensions too much. I'll just kind of keep them really, really similar, and probably somewhere along the lines of what I rode last year. I think the thing that makes J-Bay so special is probably the amount of waves that come through in 30 minutes, because we don't really go to many events and around the world where you get to do more than 3 or 4 turns a wave. And when you come here to J-Bay, you're doing 8 to 12 turns a wave. And it's a small little town in the Eastern Cape. There's not too many people. I think it goes from around 10 or 15,000 people to 150,000 people during the contest. And it really makes for a good event and a good vibe.
Great hearing from the defending champion there, and the thing I've noticed about Jordy, even in his interviews, his camera presence, he's a lot more comfortable in the position that he's in now. I think he's really used to the fame that's come his way, and here in South Africa, he's one of the biggest surf stars.
Oh, it's amazing.
Biggest sports stars, I should say.
Oh, he can't even walk down the street without getting a high five or a yeah, Jordy, we're looking forward to seeing your heat. I think this year, too, he's actually going to some lion parks, and I think normally at an event he's so focused, especially when he was younger, on just surfing, and now it looks like he's kind of taking the whole experience in.
Most definitely. Well, right now we're going to throw it down to our roving reporter, Adam Rapogel.
Thanks, Ronnie. Down here right at the Keyhole, really high tide right now. It's really challenging to see. Just even the get out right now is sort of maybe just really hard to get out. You can just see the rocks are really filled up with water. You can get really pinballed around in there, but I pulled off one of the mussels right here and a couple of the little barnacles just to show you what's sashimiing up these guys' feet. These are really, really sharp. Guys are getting really sliced up. Fortunately for myself, I wear booties, but a lot of guys on the road aren't wearing any booties at all. But this is the infamous Keyhole right here, really the smallest little nook to get out. As you can see behind me, it looks like Rossi's getting ready for his heat. Jeremy Flores probably getting ready as well. But we had a really, really cool heat getting ready for the water right now. This first heat, Dan Ross, this blue-collar shredder. Can't wait to see him ride these waves. And the Frenchman, or Reunion Island boy, I'd say, Jeremy Flores, what a shredder out here as well. Ronnie, Joe, back up to you guys.
Thank you, Adam. And really, really great that Adam got down there and had a look at those mussels, because they're kind of sneaky. They actually, you're walking across them, you think you're fine, and then you get out there, and like you said, your feet look like sashimi.
It sure does. It can tear you right up, and it's kind of lucky for Adam Rapogel being from Santa Cruz. He's very accustomed to booties, and probably goes in his factor. He can just kind of tap dance over those rocks and sneak his way out there. He's been ripping that inside the last week or so by now.
Most definitely. Well, we heard from Jordy before, the defending champion. We're going to hear from another guy now. Taj Burrow has really been the form surfer this year. I think consistently he's been really outstanding. Although he hasn't had the heat win, he's doing his best surfing, I feel, in competition ever during his career. And he's just doing the kind of surfing that he wants to do. He's always had that incredible free surfing act, but now he's really doing it in the heats, which is great to see.
Oh, it's great. Already 2 finals at this point, and it's just a matter of time. When is he going to win one? He was runner-up at Snapper to Kelly, then runner-up in Brazil to Adriano de Souza. He had that tough moment where he lost in a close one to Bobby Martinez at Bells, but like you said, he's been looking flawless right now, and maybe a little pressure off him now that he's not sitting number 1 in the world. He's not getting those world title questions like he normally does. Maybe that'll free him up to take a win here at J-Bay.
Most definitely. He won the event back in 2007. Let's hear from the former champ now.
J-Bay is just a wave that you have to really read well and you have to surf it well to make it look nice, you know. You can tell the people have surfed it a lot. They know how to ride it. They know the sections to race, high line, drop around them, then do the big turn. Other people might do the turn and let the section take off on them and miss it. You know, it's just the more and more experience out there, you just kind of learn those sections to, you know, weave around them and pick, you know, the right places to turn. There's been 3 events and I've had 2 finals, so I'm just trying to pick the positives out of that, which is a lot, you know. That's rare, you know, for me to be that consistent. So I'm happy with it. You know, even though I had 2 seconds, I think it's kind of still made me really hungry to win. You know, it was awesome to be there, but you know, disappointing not to win. But still, I'm still happy. You know, I feel like I'm in a really good position on the ratings, just to have you know, 2 seconds. And yeah, I'm still hungry to win. I've got a bunch of new boards with me. I've got 2 really good boards that I've been riding through the year. One was on the Gold Coast and one was at Bells and Brazil. But I also got a new batch, and I've just been trying to get through them and, you know, pick out a good one. And the waves have only been small, but I did ride one today, and yeah, it felt great. It feels really good. You kind of know, you know, you kind of even know how your board feels, how it's going to go by the way it paddles. You know, as soon as you get on it, you kind of feel like, oh, this feels like it's good. You know, it just moves across the water nicely. It was just felt like it could be a potential board to ride in my heat, which is always a good feeling. I felt good on it.
You're watching the Billabong Pro J-Bay. A big shout out to all the viewers joining us on Fuel TV. Those of you watching on Oceanic Cable in Hawaii and on ESPN in Brazil, we welcome you to the broadcast. I tell you what, Adam Rapogle's been a busy boy down there this morning, the roving reporter. He's been stepping out on the muscles. He gave us the surf report earlier, and now he's catching up with one of our round 3 competitors in Travis Logie. Over to you, Adam.
Thanks, Ronnie. Down here with Travis Logie right now. You're in Heat 6. What a great matchup. You and your fellow South African, Jordy Smith. You got to be really pumped.
Yeah, you know, we pretty much best friends, and I'm just frothing. I've really got nothing to lose. I wasn't even supposed to be in this event, but the points are huge for both of us in different ways. So I'm frothing. I'm excited. Hopefully there's some waves. It's kind of slow this morning, but hopefully later a little pulse comes through and we get some waves.
Just thinking about your strategy, what do you think it's going to take to beat Jordy Smith out there?
I think just surfing a smart heat. You know, we've surfed a lot of heats against each other, and it's a pretty even matchup. But every heat, one of us seems to get the waves and one of us doesn't. So hopefully we both get some waves, and I just got to be mistake-free and surf as good as I can on the set waves, and hope he has a shocker.
Well, right on, Travis. I hope he doesn't have a shocker, and I hope you don't either. I'd love to see both you guys surf. Hope all of South Africa, too, comes down here to see you guys ride, because it's going to be a big, big heat.
Oh, thanks a lot, Joe. I'm sure it'll be a good heat. And I would love Jordy to win a world title, so it's a bit of a mixed emotion kind of heat, but, you know, I need the points, so I'm going to go for it, and let's see what happens.
Right there, boys. Ronnie, Joe, you heard it from the man himself, Travis Logie. Heat number 6 with Jordy Smith. It's going to be a great one. Back up to you guys.
Looking forward to seeing that one unfold, but some incredible heats to come before we get to heat number 6. Plenty more to come on the morning show. We're going to be reviewing some of the best waves, along with some of the biggest heat scores so far in the event, including the Nixon WTA frontrunner, who is now Michelle Bourez, overtaking Jordy Smith for that title. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, more of the morning show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
When you're surfing with mates and there's some barrels, I get more excited than anyone. Looking into a barrel when one of your mates eats shit is just the best thing. Oh! Are you kidding me? It's almost more fun looking into it than being in there, because you're just like going, yeah, and then if they eat it, you're just like, yes. This is one of my favorite things. I love it.
I surf because there's nothing better than getting crazy barrels with your mates.
I surf because there's always one wave in a session that makes a session, you know.
You're watching the morning show. We're going to get into round 3 of the Billabong Pro shortly, Joe. Day 9 of the waiting period. We're only 2 rounds in, but it's been amazing that we've been able to knock those 2 rounds over with the forecast that we've had. We've taken basically every opportunity that's come our way. And, you know, I've been surprised with some of the surfing we've seen. It's been mind-blowing.
I think the big curveball that everyone saw in the forecast was they're thinking originally that is going to be pretty tough to run this entire event because we hadn't seen that big bump towards the end of the waiting period. So the beginning, everyone was a little bit nervous on what to possibly expect out here. But then when you come to Jeffreys Bay, you know, even if there's a 3-foot wave coming in, it's absolutely perfect. And these guys are going to rip it to pieces.
They sure are. Let's bring up the 5 top waves of the contest so far. And I believe they're going to pop up on your screen. We're going to see some scores here. And this was Michel Perez. And this wave factored into his top 2 rides that have him as the front runner for the Nixon WTA award, that $10,000 watch. And he just tore this thing apart.
Looks so sharp, and look at that float. Didn't make a single mistake. Even a big below tail finish at earning himself the best wave of the event. Here's Jordy Smith in the opening round. That big flyaway. Started with the double grab into a single frontside grab and started ripping it out the top. Look at this thing starting to double up on the inside of Jordy Smith. He's still hammering this one out the back, Ronnie. Then he got a little inside connection.
He did, and just jammed it. Jordy can fit in so many moves on this wave. You know, he just kept floating down the line. And he just keeps moving. He really never looks rushed. And plenty of wildlife appearing in that clip also.
As we look to Ace Buchan and his amazing backhand approach. Look at that read as he gets that float. And then the move that everyone's been loving, the backside roundhouse cutback from a goofy footer that you don't see too often, maybe just from Aki. Nice snap after that from Ace Buchan. This is how sharp he looked just a couple of days ago. Big float on the inside too. He can put in so many different maneuvers on this amazing right-hander. He's going to be tough to beat.
He sure is. B. Durbidge, a return to form for Durbo. Hadn't had over a 7-point ride until Brazil, and he is fighting his way back into form. This is one of the best waves I've seen him catch in a while, and he's looking sharp again, old Durbo.
Big carve off the top there, and as he just seals the deal through this inside section. Look at how many maneuvers he got on this towards the tail end of the wave with a little sliding move right on the bricks as these highlights continue on, Ronnie. Look at this one here. Big approach there from Damian Hobgood on his backhand. Nice rip off the top. He had that tough matchup with Taylor Knox, and it could have been Taylor's heat easily, but Damian took control.
Yeah, he did. Damian Hobgood, a former finalist out here on 2 occasions, and he's established himself as one of the best goofy footers in the draw at this contest. And I think just based on that performance against Taylor, he's going to be a threat once again.
I talked to Damien the other day, and I was like, last year, I think you were the last goofy foot remaining. And he's like, was I really? I think he's, not worried about that right now. And obviously the old saying goes, taking it a heat at a time. But if he keeps surfing heats like that, I think he might be in the final stage again.
Most definitely. Well, we just saw the best individual rides. We're going to have a look at the best combined heat score totals right now, and none higher than Michel Perez, as we said before, which puts him as the front runner for the Nixon WTA award. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But Jordy Smith, a 16.87 in the first round on really average waves, which for me means that he is going to be dangerous when he connects with a set. Dusty Payne, 16.03. The young Hawaiian was really strong in his first round showing. Adrian Buchan in the second round, one of the best heats for a goofy footer we've seen out there in a long time. And Mick Fanning, just typically strong out here at Jeffreys Bay in the first round. And, we're seeing all those round 1 winners again for just the second time today.
That's kind of interesting to think because they haven't surfed in a few days in competition. They won that opening round, and we've just been chipping away at round 2. It took 2 full days to complete that second round, so excited to see Mick Fanning, Dusty Payne, and the rest of the guys who've had a little bit of a break.
That's right. Michel Perez, we talked about him before. He featured in our single highest scoring rides. He featured in the 2 highest scoring, or the highest scoring heat score
Morning,
Having a
Ronnie.
shocker, yeah.
he
Anyway.
has been ripping, I think, exactly what you're trying to
Thank
get
you,
to.
Jack. Can you finish this one off?
Of course, there's a $10,000 Nixon watch on the line, and right now our leader is Michelle Perez, the Tahitian, throwing some power off the top on this one. This was the best wave we've had so far in this event. Look at the sunlight on this thing, and that aggressive approach, Ronnie, is fitting into this wave beautifully.
Yeah, Michelle Perez, he just has those big explosive manoeuvres. The 7.77, I was calling this heat with Luke Egan. He was calling it should have been in the 8-point range, but this was Michelle's other scoring ride, and that raw, powerful gouge that he has out at the top is really hard for other surfers to match, and I think Michelle is going to be a real danger man in this contest.
I agree. 9.3 from Michelle Perez as he blasts that finishing move. He could possibly win that $10,000 custom watch. They have a special watch that they create for each and every event. They have usually different things that you could win. I know Parco's won 3 in a row for winning the Triple Crown. Sometimes it comes to biggest punts. I know that's what the case was in Brazil, but now they just want someone to absolutely rip your heat to pieces on 2 good waves, and at the moment they belong to Michelle Perez.
They do. Michelle Perez will be seeing in heat 11 of round number 3. He's up against Tiago Perez, a really good heat, that one. But we're talking about the standout heats of the 3rd round just before, and just the second half of the draw. We didn't even get that far. There are some amazing matchups. Heat number 9 is a beauty. Owen Wright up against Adam Melling. That's a mighty clash. Adam Melling is basically in the same position he was this time last year, chasing a huge result, and he needs to do pretty much what he did last year. He needs to kind of get in the final if he's going to be guaranteeing that spot on the World Tour coming into the back end of the season.
No, definitely, Ronnie. And with Owen Wright, one of the smarter competitors on tour, ASP's Rookie of the Year last year, he's going to have his hands full. Even though Adam Melling is probably a favorite, he looked so sharp against Brett Simpson. It was amazing. So if he keeps that form, Adam might be pretty tough to beat. But with that Owen Wright clash, I'm really looking forward to that.
It's a stacked draw, that's for sure. We caught up with the world's best surfers just during the week and had a chat to them about who they like taking on in competition. Here's what they had to say.
It's so weird, like sometimes on tour you might like been on tour 7 years and some of the guys I haven't even surfed against, it's just weird, and then other guys you've had like 10 heats against, and Adriano's beaten me a few times, probably more than anyone on tour, so yeah, it'd be good to get a heat against him, and he's number 1, it'd be good to surf against him, and yeah, we always have good heats.
Yeah, sure, I have rivalries with guys like Kelly and Joel and Taj and Jordy, and those top 5 guys. They're the guys that you really want to beat.
Sometimes when the same guy beat you like a few times, you really want to compete against him again because you don't want to be like 3 or 4 times lost for the same guy.
Yeah, I think you're happy about beating every one of the guys, especially when you win a heat. But I've had a few of them, I had a few of them this year. I had one against, I think against Joel. Well, I ended up getting the score in like the last couple of minutes, and those big climaxes is what you want in a heat. It gets the crowd going.
It's a couple of guys I'd really love to beat. You'd love to like come up against Jordy, because Jordy's probably the most informed surfer out here, I think. And waxing. Even Adriano's been surfing amazing this year, and it'd be a good taste, kicking his ass and all that. But in saying that, no one cares on which path they make to the final, as long as you get there, So, but there's always that dream of like me and Mick at Bells or something like that. You get that clash and it goes your way. It's pretty cool.
gone very interesting. Just some great big calls. I like it when the guys go out on the limb and just say who they'd actually like to beat in competition.
Oh, it's great. Especially, I think Adriano came up a bunch. It's not because they're after him because he's world number one. They want to beat the best. So they want to get that big draw. They want to have the best guys to surf against in the final at the end of the day. They don't want that easy route, and they want that number one seed because they're after it, Ronnie.
Oh, most definitely. Heat number 10, Adriano de Souza, the current world number one, is going to be taking on one of his countrymen in Alejo Munez. And Alejo's been surfing really well out here, and I love that clash. That's going to be a big one.
Oh, one of my favorites for sure. I think Alejo's been surfing out here, and he's looking so sharp in his free surfs. A great aerialist and such a great point break surfer. I saw Alejo surf lowers this year and was so impressed. And seeing him surf Jeffreys Bay, and I'm not sure about his experience here, but being a rookie on tour, he's looking pretty fresh out there. He's going to really lay it into Adriano.
Most definitely. Well, we've been seeing the first two surfers of the third round preparing this morning, and they've paddled out into the lineup. But just watching the conditions so far this morning, we haven't seen a lot of set waves pulse through, and I think a decision's been made to go on hold, Joe.
Yeah, unfortunately, for right now, it looks like we might have to delay this first heat to get out into the lineup. As we look out there, the sets are just a little too few and far between. So the organizers downstairs have been discussing it for the last 30 minutes or so and kind of, hey, you know what, let's lay off, let's see what's going to happen here, and hopefully get a few more of these sets to roll through the lineup. So it looks like we might be taking a little bit of a break. When can we expect to go on, Ronnie?
They're going to make an official call at 8:45 local time, so at 8:45, and with a possible 9 o'clock start. So stay with us, stay tuned. We're going to leave you with some highlights from the event so far, but right now we are going to go on hold. The call will be made at 8:45. Joe and myself will return then. Stay with us. You're watching the Billabong Pro, Jeffreys Bay.
Well, my baby won't stop till she hits the mark. Only our souls in a rhythm clock. Can you see she'll never need to stop? Only her need for my heavy love. Hits to my brain as a penny drops. Only feels right if we need to stop. Hits to my brain as a penny drops. Only feels right if we need to stop. Only feels right if we need to stop. I'm gonna do just straight with the rock and roll. Only thing my baby be ready for. Gonna tell me that you don't have the time. Thought you said supposed to be a friend of mine.